Welcome to the Talk Your Tail Off podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa, more commonly known as Girl with the Dogs. Thank you for joining me as we discuss everything from pet tips to heartwarming stories of humans and the special bond that they have between their furry, feathery, or scaly friends. We will also be discussing content creation and just what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Before we get started, I just want to encourage you all to join this community by hitting that subscribe button. Now let's dive into today's episode. Today's guest is my lifelong friend, Christina. Hey, Christina.
Hey Vanessa.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm here because I'm just fabulous. No, I am. But I went to school actually for business communications. I currently work at a university in Niagara Falls in St. Catharines, Thorold. And I actually have the pleasure of being one of Vanessa's editors for one of her channels. So it's something I do on the side, which I love. And I assist with the social media, and we're planning the event that we're really excited for.
The fundraiser event, which is on July 14th at Ironwood Cider House. It is a fundraiser for Happy's Place Senior Dog Rescue, and I'm super excited about it. And yes, Christina is the event organizer for the entire event, and she's doing a great job, and I'm really excited.
Yes, we love events. Definitely something that's been a passion of mine. Thought about getting into weddings, planned a few weddings, just kind of didn't pan out. So this has been so much fun doing the event, obviously focused on dogs because we love dogs. And we're super excited. We're going to raise lots of money, which is great. And we already have.
I know, we already have raised almost $30,000, which is incredible. Thank you to every single person who donated. It's, I don't even have words for it. This is the most that we've raised for a rescue since I started my channel. So thank you. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's insane. So hopefully, I think the plan is we're going to do this yearly. We're hoping.
Well, I have an idea for another one in the winter.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know if I've told you about this. Well, I kind of told you. So it's the dog and cat fashion show.
Yes.
There is someone that has a stage already in Niagara Falls. I'm not going to mention who yet because I actually have to reach out to them to see whether or not I can use their venue. But if we do use their venue, we'll be serving dinner. So it'll be like most fashion shows or events that you go to where you like have a sit down dinner and then, you know, the show's going on. So the show would be, I'm going to have people enter their own pet. And then I'd like the prize to be around $2,000. So it encourages people to really put in a lot of work in their pet's fashion. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be really cute. And I'm probably going to use this event to raise money for the Niagara Falls Humane Society.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, another local one. Yeah. So hopefully we get that ball up and rolling soon.
Yes.
That will be something we talk about after.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm hoping this will be a yearly thing. I think me and Vanessa talked about maybe doing 2 a year.
Yes.
Or summer, winter kind of thing. But yes, the fashion show I think will be a great idea. Something we talked about for this event, but we didn't want to.
It was too much. It was too much to include in one event. And I think this would be better if it was indoors and something you can do in the winter, right? Because in the summertime, there's so many events outdoors. Okay, so we're going to get into today's episode, which is basically answering my most frequently asked questions. So Christina is going to ask the questions.
So Vanessa, how did you become a groomer?
This is definitely my most asked question. So when I was 18, graduated high school, I was supposed to go to York University to study French. That's what my sister did. That's what my parents wanted me to do. And right before I was supposed to go, well, I shouldn't say right before, a couple of months before I was supposed to go, I canceled whatever you in your application.
Like defer it.
Yeah, I deferred it. Yeah.
I should know I work at a university, but I can't think of the lingo.
Right? Well, I went to, what is that office when you're in high school?
The guidance counselor?
The guidance counselor. Yeah. So I went to the guidance counselor because they kind of did all of that for you. They accepted your or whatever. Anyway, so I walked in there and I told him I didn't want to go anymore. And I remember him really trying to convince me to go to university. He just tried so hard to not let me not follow through with this. And I eventually said, no, I'm not going. And the reasons for that was, I wasn't passionate about it. So if my parents wanted me to do it, which is great, it's just not something that I really wanted to do. So I didn't do it. But another part of that was my parents were going through a separation at the time. And it just wasn't a good time for me to leave home. I felt like I needed to be with my mom, with my brother. My brother was really young at the time. I didn't want him to be subjected to all of that by himself. So it just felt like the right time to stay home, which inevitably ended up, it's funny how life works.
Yeah.
You look back and you think that was supposed to happen that way.
For sure.
Because had that not happened, I probably would have went to university, and I may not be Girl with the Dogs today. So it's
Or
funny.
maybe you would have gotten there in a different way.
Maybe. It's possible.
Yeah.
But I ended up going to hair school after that instead, because hair school was local and I've always enjoyed doing hair. So I did that for a little bit, and I actually dropped out because even though I liked doing hair, the way the school worked was they took clients, and the clients paid 50% of what they would normally pay because students are doing their hair. Every single time I had a client, I just
Hated it.
Oh,
The worst.
I was
People,
so disappointed. Please don't come in. I don't want to do your hair. So I think I realized if, I'm in school and I feel that way, then I probably should
Not do it.
not do it. Yeah, it wasn't for me. So I dropped out, and then my cousin, Samantha, she had a little Shih Tzu at the time, and she was bringing him to get groomed. And she said to me, every time I go to the salon to get my dog groomed, it is the cutest thing ever. There's dogs everywhere. I just feel like this is very much your vibe.
Yeah.
And you should go and apply. And I thought, okay, I like doing hair and I love animals. Like, we know that. We've had lots of childhood stories about that. So I went in there and I asked for a job, and she said she wasn't really hiring right now, which I was disappointed. And then about a month later, I brought Zoe, my German Shepherd, to get groomed. And the reason I did that wasn't because necessarily she needed to get groomed. It was more so I could have a reason to talk to them again. And then I asked her again, please hire me. And it actually fell into place because one of her groomers was quitting and she did need to fill that spot. So she ended up asking me if I'd like to be a groomer as opposed to a groomer's assistant. And that's just, she taught me how to groom, and that's how it all started.
It just worked out. And funny story, or like side note, Vanessa dyed my hair quite a few times when she was in hair school.
Did I really?
Yes, we went red, we went blonde. I don't know why I trusted you. Did a good job.
Thanks a lot.
You did a good job, but like you weren't like, I think it was after you dropped out, and I was like, yeah, just dye my hair. I don't care. And Vanessa always had crazy hair throughout elementary school. Like,
Embarrassing hair.
we gotta I don't know, put some like photos up or something.
I could try to
like
find
you
some.
gotta find some because they were hilarious. But Vanessa, as a kid, the two of us, I guess, as kids, at recess time in elementary school during the winter years, we would literally go outside to play, and I'd be like, "What are we playing today?" And she'd be like, "We're gonna play dogs." And my name is, I think it was Lupa.
It was Lupa and Lupo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Lupa. You're going to be Lupo. And we like built snow forts, and she'd have me climbing on all fours. Like, we're like barking at each other. And all the other kids are like being normal and like building snowmans and doing other things. And like here me and Vanessa are like playing animals. So yeah, definitely you were meant to be a groomer.
I also now have a dog named Lupa, so it's quite funny.
Yeah. And we definitely have some other interesting animal stories.
Like when you killed my bird.
I did not. I did not. Vanessa would invite me over and make me do very no, I shouldn't say questionable.
Oh my
things.
God.
No, she always had animals. She had like the baby bird. Didn't you hatch chickens once?
I hatched one.
They had lizards, snakes, like didn't Julian, her brother, had a tarantula?
He had tarantulas up until a few years ago.
So gross, so scary. Every animal under the sun. They also had Rottweilers growing up, and her dad used to make us go into the backyard and give us like a hockey stick. And not because
This is a bad story.
This is a bad story, not to beat them. They were the most like well-behaved, sweet, and
Not Tex. Tex was not well behaved.
he was questionable. But I like loved your dogs. They were scary looking, but Rottweilers are so sweet. But it was because we were these teeny little boppers. Like, I'm like 5 foot and Vanessa's like 4.
I don't even believe you're 5 foot.
I am 5 foot.
I don't believe
5
you.
foot, half an inch. I'll go to the doctors and get you my records. But Vanessa's like 4 something. So we were these tiny little things going in, and yeah.
We weren't even, at the time, we were not that size. At the time, we were much smaller.
Tinier, yeah. So we'd have to go in with these hockey sticks, and her dad would be like, if they jump on you, just kind of like block them.
I have
don't
to
know.
explain this better.
Okay, yeah, because this sounds bad.
This sounds really bad.
Dogs.
No.
We weren't. They were treated very well.
Tex was definitely not a purebred Rottweiler. When I look back at photos, I know that dog was not purebred, but at the time we thought he was. But
He was
Tex,
the fatter one, right?
yeah, he was definitely part lab for sure. But anyways, Tex had a humping problem. And if you were super small, which we were at the time, he would jump on you and hump you. And pummel us over and pin us to the ground. We wouldn't be able to get up because we were so tiny, obviously, at that time. So he gave us hockey sticks, not to beat the dog, but to like keep the dog away from us if he decided that he was going to hump us. But he was also a very affectionate, loving, sweet dog. He just had this really weird attribute. Even though we took all of our dogs to training and they were all very well trained, he had this one thing about him that we just could not fix. So the hockey sticks, and they were those little plastic hockey sticks. Yeah. They were our protection so that the dog didn't pin us to the ground.
So we have a lot of funny dog stories.
Yeah.
I did not kill the bird. We just tried to get it to fly a little earlier than it was probably ready.
No, I don't really know much about birds. And at that time, I knew nothing about birds. We were really young, and it was a canary. And I was trying to get it to sit on my finger. That's what we were doing.
We were like,
I wanted it to sit on my finger, and canaries are not those kinds of birds.
Should have got a parrot.
Right? I didn't know that. So it actually ended up having a heart attack, which is horrible. Horrible.
We're going to get some hate.
Yeah. I mean, we were children.
Know.
We were like, probably 7 or 8 years old. We did not know. And our parents were not watching us at that time.
And I did get sent home after.
Did you actually?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
You called your mom and you're like, Mom,
Christina killed my
bird. And I'm like, you killed the bird. And I'm like, we both also probably killed the bird.
That is so funny.
And then I remember you crying, I'm crying. And then I was like, I think we called my mom and I had to get picked up and go home.
That was
But we're still friends. We're still friends. We've known each other since JK. Now that we've deferred, but those are some funny stories.
Rabbit holes,
yeah. But moral to the story is, kids, if your parents tell you to go to university or to do this and that, do what you want to do, because you're going to end up getting there probably one way or another, and it's the rest of your life. You should try a bunch of different things, fail, succeed. Moral to the story, do what you want to do. Don't do what people tell you to. Because our guidance counselors were very pushy on university. And you know what? Now you look at all the folks that are in the trades, because the trades was like a no-go. They're crushing it.
They're doing way better. Yeah.
But anyways.
Next question.
Let's go on. Get into it. On the next episode, this question kind of relates, but I think Vanessa's going to go a little bit more into her grooming experience, what that was like, previous employer, how it was working in a salon. But she did obviously leave to then go and groom from her home. So how did your boss feel about that when you left grooming at the salon to kind of venture on your own? And I know that's usually the normal when people are in hair and any type of field like that, they're eventually going to leave and go on their own. But how did she feel about that? Because I think you were one of the best. Like, I feel like people really liked you there, and you kind of blew up when you went on your own.
I did blow up when I went on my own. I will blame that entirely on social media. Social media is amazing. My boss was not thrilled with me when I left. That is a whole other story. And I actually have a really good friend of mine that I met at that grooming salon, and she is still a great friend of mine today. And she's going to be on the podcast next week to talk about a lot of the experiences that we had when we were working at that salon, because there's a lot of dramatic stories. So I'll get more into detail about that next week. But long story short, she was certainly not happy. And what's funny is you also had the same experience.
Oh, in my career?
When you were doing nails.
Oh, yeah. So yes, I did go to, not that I'm going to give you guys my whole life story because you probably don't care. But yes, I went to school for business communications. But prior to that, I actually have a very diverse background. That's why I say try things, fail, choose what you want to choose, because I originally went to university. Then I went to school for makeup. Then I went into aesthetics and nails. So I was also in a very client-focused field. And same thing when I left to go and pursue university, because I decided I wanted a degree and I was ready. She was really not thrilled, and I didn't do anything wrong to end. Like, we ended on what I thought was good terms, but yeah, just like a weird. People can be funny.
People can be very jealous. Mm-hmm. But side note, people always ask me why my nails are so beautiful and perfect, and that would be
me.
That would be Christina.
I don't do it full time. I literally only do friends, not even family. You know what? Again, client facing, it's just like it's a different kind of industry. Anyone who's ever been client facing, customer facing, service type of field. And it was just something I didn't want to pursue. And I think you worked a lot in the salon, and I had a really crazy working experience as well. I felt like I was working 12, 13-hour days, like not eating lunch. And it was just not like, I don't want to live like this.
Sounds like pet grooming.
Yeah, I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, but you are very good at it.
At nails?
Yes.
I am. I will toot my own horn. I go and get my nails done, and I'm just like, looking and I'm like, oh, it's too close to my cuticle. I'm like, it's driving me nuts. So I don't go and get my nails done. I do my own. I'm not going to show you guys them because they're really gross and I need to get them done, or I need to do them myself.
We trade services.
Yeah.
So I groom her dogs and she does my nails, and I'm very much okay with that.
So apart from you grooming, another question I feel like Vanessa always gets, and they definitely are one of your more popular videos, are the cats. And you didn't groom cats to begin with. Like, that wasn't something I feel like you really started. So why do you bathe them? Like,
Cats, because they're self-cleaning.
Yeah. Like, first off, why did you start grooming them? And yeah, why do you bathe them? Because they are self-cleaning. And I know I watch your video, so I do know why you bathe them, but that's one of the questions that you get a lot.
Well, there's two answers to that question. So, and also to start, I taught myself how to groom cats. I watched a lot of grooming videos and taught myself how to groom cats because my old boss did not teach me how to groom cats. However, when you have long-haired cats, they get super matted, and when they're matted, they can't properly clean themselves. So after you shave off that pelt, they definitely do need a bath. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10, that water is brown after I bathe them.
Yeah.
However, on another note, a lot of the cats I groom are short-haired. And do they need a bath? No. But I'll explain why it's important that we do it anyways. I had a cat. Her name was Misha. She's a good cat.
Yeah.
But she hated my dogs. And my dogs came first. I did not have a cat and then get dogs. That upset my cat, because a lot of people comment on my videos saying, I can't believe you got dogs and then rehomed your cat. That's not what happened. I had my dogs first. And then I got my cat, and no matter what, even though she was a tiny little kitten, I could not get her to be okay with the dogs. And because she was so stressed out about them, she would constantly hide, and then she would pee out of the litter box because of stress. So ultimately, I had to make a better decision for her, and then I found a great friend that gave her an incredible home, and I'm so happy about that.
And she's such a cute cat.
She's beautiful.
So beautiful.
She doesn't look real.
No, she's stunning. But yeah, she did go through a weird phase.
She just, and when she's not around other animals, she's a different cat. Mm-hmm. She's loving, happy, affectionate. Yeah. Bring another animal around, even another cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did not like it. So there was a time where she was staying at my grandparents' house when we were transitioning from moving from our family home to my mom's new house. So we were staying at my grandparents' for a couple of months, and she was there. And my grandfather is an artist. A lot of you might know who he is. My brother has a channel, The Spicy Nona, and he does a lot of his artwork on that channel. And he had this powdered paint that I guess he would just add water to. And it was in a bag. And one night we did fireworks in the backyard. It freaked her out. Yeah. She was inside and she ran into that bag, and she came out a red cat, completely red. So
cat of Satan or something.
It was,
I don't even know.
She's a white cat. Now she's totally red. So I had to give her a bath. Yeah. I had no choice. And giving her a bath for the first time was a petrifying experience for her because she had never been bathed before. So what I learned then, and I was a groomer at that time, but what I learned then, and that was before I had really done cats, is you should introduce them to grooming when they're young because there might be a time where they need a bath. And cats are not like dogs. And if they get extremely stressed out about bathing, grooming of any kind, you can have a serious matter on your hands. They can have a heart attack. Like, they're not the same as working with dogs. So, I learned, okay, if I get a kitten, which my next cat that I had gotten years ago, I bathed him from day one to the point where he enjoyed water. I would fill up the tub and he'd just swim in it. So then if there was ever a time where he needed a bath, I knew it wouldn't be a stressful experience for him. So anybody who gets cats, while yes, they are self-cleaning, the reality is you probably won't need to bathe them many times in their life. But if you want to help them out, especially when they get old and they have difficulty cleaning themselves, teach them that the bath is not an issue from day one, and then you won't have any problems down the line.
Yeah.
That's what I suggest.
And I mean, it's really no different with dogs. That was the one thing when I got my first dog. Vanessa's like, bring him in right away. Let's get him used to grooming. Also, my dogs are the schnauzers that are posted on Vanessa's stories.
Instagram
and featured a lot. So they're not her dogs. Those cute little schnauzies are mine. But same thing, schnauzers don't like water. And that was one thing Vanessa said is, hey, bring him in. The second I got him, I think he was maybe 8 weeks old or whatever. Yeah, which you tell everyone. You just got to get them used to it. And they're really good to groom.
Her dogs are amazing to groom, and schnauzers are often not easy dogs to groom. I was when she told me she was getting a schnauzer, mind you, I grew up with schnauzers, so she was a wonderful dog, and I agree she was a wonderful dog, but she was a nightmare to groom. So when my friend told me that she's going to get 2 schnauzers, I was kind of on the side of, really?
Yeah.
Like, damn it, now I have to groom these dogs the rest of their lives. But we started them young. They're very good. They're good. And thank God for that.
But anyways, let's go on to the next question, because I feel like this is something you definitely get and you can talk a little bit about it. But with grooming, have you ever experienced carpal tunnel symptoms? I don't know if you had carpal tunnel, but definitely might hard on your hands. Like, I feel like you...
I could have carpal tunnel. I've never been to the doctor for a diagnosis. I certainly have had tendinitis many times. When I was grooming around 15 dogs per day, I definitely felt it a lot more than I feel it now. But for example, if it's damp or cool outside, my arms will throb. You'll see me sometimes.
Like arthritis or something.
You'll see me sometimes at events. For example, I think I was at a wedding one time and I was just sitting there massaging my forearms because they were throbbing. They were so sore. My wrists, right now they're okay, but every single morning when I wake up, they crack.
Yeah.
Like,
mine's doing that lately too. And I think it's from, I don't want to say editing, but it's in one position.
Because it's stuck in one position.
Clicking like all throughout the day when I'm like doing the videos, or at night whenever I'm doing them. And yeah, I'll like all of a sudden start cracking it. I'm like,
It like, yeah. So, and I have shoulder issues for sure. My shoulders hurt a lot. So yeah, grooming is definitely hard on the body. Some suggestions for other groomers. This is something I used to do and I stopped doing, and I really need to get back into doing it. I would wear wrist braces when I slept every night. That helped tremendously. Since I started grooming less dogs, I stopped wearing it because I don't feel as much wear and tear as I used to, but I should go back to doing it because it's helpful for your wrists. And the reason for that is a lot of times when you sleep, you bend your wrists in awkward positions, and then it doesn't really have the ability to heal properly because you're bent and contorted.
Like pretzel. Yeah, I like slept weird last night. I was like, yeah.
Another thing is regular physiotherapy, massage therapy, acupuncture. That is something that I did routinely when I was grooming a lot. Now I still do it routinely, just not as frequently because I don't need it as often. But I don't know if I can say that that's carpal tunnel symptoms. Maybe it is. I don't have any numbness. A lot of people say with carpal tunnel that you'll feel numbness in your hands. I don't have that. But it's definitely something that could happen in my future for sure.
Yeah, definitely doing the repetitive cutting, like all the stuff.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to take care of yourself, but I feel like we're pretty big health advocates and we like to take care of our bodies and just got to do the stuff. Why you should avoid shaving double coated dogs, and why are cats different? But I know you do sometimes have to shave double coated dogs, but that's usually because they're like extremely matted. I feel like I just edited a video and
did I shave it?
I think the more recent one. Yeah.
I get this question a lot because a lot of people will comment on my videos when I talk about not shaving double-coated dogs, and they'll say things such as, when I shave my double-coated dog, he feels much better. I can tell that he's happier, that he's cooler. And the answer to that is, you're right.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for that. So I'm going to use my Pomeranian as an example. So Gidget has a lot of hair, and after a while, I don't brush her every day. I'll admit that. I don't brush her every day. I give her a good grooming once a month, and that keeps her coat in good condition for the month. But over the course of that month, she'll have undercoat that starts to build up underneath her coat. So she doesn't shed like your average shedding dog. For example, my German Shepherd. She has a smoother coat. You see her hair all over the floor. You don't really see Gidget's hair on the floor, and that's because it gets stuck underneath her coat. So in order to remove that shedding fur, you have to brush them or blow dry them, whatever your tools you're using. So if you have a Pomeranian, for example, or any long-coated, heavy dog, and you're not regularly brushing them or you're not regularly grooming them, that hair just continues to pile up, and then the skin can't breathe. So of course, if you bring that dog to the groomer and shave it, they're going to feel a lot better. But that's not necessarily what you have to do. What you should be doing is either brushing them on a daily basis or bringing them for regular grooming appointments so that that hair can get blown out with the blow dryer, then brushed out. And then you can feel, if you put your hands in your dog's coat, you can feel their skin. It's nice and airy. You know, when the wind blows, you can see their hair blowing in the wind. Like their skin can breathe.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that you have to shave them in order to get those results. What it really is you have to maintain that undercoat properly. And if you do, your pet will never be too hot in the summertime, for example. So for those people that just shave them, that's really just them.
Convenience, kind of.
I don't want to call people lazy.
Yeah.
But if you're not brushing your dog and then you do not want to pay for regular grooming services.
Yeah.
And so you just bring your dog every, 4 to 6 months to get shaved. Please do that at least, because it's better for the dog than to have all that compacted undercoat, but that's not the answer. If you want a dog like that, you should be brushing it and you should be bringing it to the groomer regularly or grooming it, learning how to groom it yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, then they get to keep their luxurious, beautiful coat and not overheat in the summertime. And that coat helps them against sunburn. Mm-hmm. It helps them to regulate their body temperature. And if you notice when you shave a double-coated dog and the hair starts to grow back in, sometimes it grows back in patchy, and other times when it grows back in, it grows back in what appears to be normal, but if you take your hand and you run it through the dog's coat, you'll feel like these spiky little pieces of hair, and that's short undercoat that didn't grow out properly, and it's just not nice.
Yeah.
It's not a nice coat after you shave it.
I feel like it always feels different too. Yeah.
Feels different, looks different. Yeah. And if you're not going to put in the effort to care for their coat, then at least shave them, because that's probably better
for them. Yeah.
But yeah, so then the only time that I think that it's okay to shave a double coated dog is when A, the owner is not properly maintaining, so it's better for the dog if I just shave them, or B, the dog is so old that they cannot undergo that full grooming, and it's just better for them if I just shave.
Yeah, 100%. I know you definitely always do things best in mind, like for the dog, which is great.
I try.
That's the priority. We want those little guys to feel comfortable and have the best grooming experience. But why are cats different? Because you do groom them quite a bit.
I do shave them a lot.
Yeah, and there's lots that come in that are literally fully matted, like a salt.
Well, when they're matted, that's why you have to shave them. But sometimes I shave them even when they're not matted. The difference with cats is that the majority of cats are indoor, especially when you have a long, fluffy cat. Most people do not let their luxurious, fluffy cat outside because it would just get full of vegetation, right?
Yeah.
So those cats are normally indoors. So regulating their body temperature isn't really a necessity because they're inside with the air conditioning and the heat anyways. So they're not going out in the elements. Yeah. But also a lot of cats can be temperamental about brushing. So owners themselves just would prefer them to be shaved because they can't handle their cat's behavior in trying to brush it. Obviously, the goal would be to keep their coat and to get a cat and get them accustomed to it at, their early ages. But if you didn't do that, then another option is to shave them.
Shave them, yeah. Those are always the fun videos. I like to edit the crazy cats. The cats, they're just wacko. They're just wild. I should say they're wackos. It's just so funny. They make me laugh. But this kind of is a good segue in. It's not about cats, but have you ever been bit by a dog? And I definitely know the answer to this. We know you've been scratched and everything by cats and all that fun stuff. But from the dog point of view,
I have been bit many, 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 many times throughout the years. However, only one bite actually broke the skin. Every other bite, most dogs give you a warning bite. Yeah. They don't actually want to hurt you. They just want to tell you they don't like what you're doing. So most of the time it's the warning bite and it's not actually breaking the skin. But there was this one time, and I had a grooming assistant with me there that day, and she is going to be on the podcast. So I'm going to let her tell this story more in full, because to her, when she was just learning how to groom, it was like the most outrageous experience for her. So I'd love for her to tell that story from her point of view, because it'll be very funny. But I did groom a dog with her there that was sedated, and it woke up. And when it woke up suddenly, it did bite me. I didn't need stitches or anything like that, but it was the first time that a dog bit me and actually broke the skin. Ugh. It was not a fun experience. No, but it was very funny. I'm not going to lie.
You gotta laugh about it.
There's humor in everything.
Yeah, there's humor. Yeah, grooming is not glamorous. Vanessa did offer me the opportunity to help her and groom when I was looking for a change of career, or I wanted a second income or whatever it was. And I remember I've helped you a few times with baths, like back in the day. And let me tell you, it's not cute. It's not cute. The anal glands, I still make her like, she showed me how to do my dogs. I still can't do it. It still freaks me out. It grosses me out. And then even like touching dogs and they have like scabs and bumps and lumps. It's like, it's not as glamorous. Not as glamorous as it looks.
There's no glamour.
No. And I think the one time I was helping you, a dog like shit on you. Can I say shit?
Yeah, you can.
Pooped. Shit on you. Like I think it like projectile.
I'm going to say that happened almost every single day.
So that also grossed me out because I was like, I don't do that.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, but the biting definitely as like a first person coming in and like that's what happens. Like, yeah, I don't want to be part of this.
She ended up becoming a groomer and runs her own business, and she's very successful. But it's hilarious that was really
like
her
the first experience.
Yeah. It was so funny.
Whatever. So she saw like the worst case scenario.
She did.
And then she was able to like decide, is this for me?
Yeah.
Or is this not for me? What kind of dog was it?
It was a Shih Tzu pug mix.
Ugh. I don't want to talk ill, but I ain't a Shih Tzu girl. But so now let's talk about worst injury. So after being bit, worst injury from grooming, because you're like this big.
Right.
And like some of the dogs you groom are like this big.
So my worst injury from grooming really didn't have much to do with a dog, and it really had to do with my stupidity, really.
Yeah, you have that sometimes.
Thanks. So in my very first shop, I had a hook on the ground and it went into the concrete.
Okay.
So if I was grooming a really large dog, it couldn't go
like
on my
attach
table.
them.
I would
Yeah.
clip it to the ground. So I had this stainless steel, I forget the name of this clip. Do you know what the clip I'm talking about? You use them a lot for bikes. It like goes in like
Yeah,
this and it's...
Yeah, I know exactly what
You know
you're
what clip I'm talking
Yeah.
about. I wish I knew the name of it, but it's a very common clip that you would get at the hardware store.
Yeah.
And I went to go clip the dog in, and my hand slipped and went inside the clip, and then the dog pulled, and the clip went into my hand. I still have a scar from it. Yeah, it's on this hand. The clip went right into my hand. That was outrageous. I had to pull it out. Obviously, I was bleeding really bad. I never ended up going to get stitches.
I was going to say you probably should have.
Well, I was already up to date on my tetanus shot, so I didn't need a tetanus shot, but I didn't get stitches for it. I just let it heal. That was probably my worst injury, and that was just me not paying attention when I was working. And the dog, I think, was around a 150-pound St. Bernard, so he just
Pulled you.
Yeah,
for
he
a
just
ride.
yanked me.
That's repulsive. I would have cried.
Yeah, I don't think that I did cry, but I was just very mad at myself for doing something like that. But it never happened again, so that's good.
It's good. Yeah, you're like, hey, I'm not putting those in my like new shop.
Actually, I use them all the time. I just don't. I know how to use them. Yeah. Shoreline Marine stainless
like
steel
a-
safety spring
Yes,
puck.
I feel like that's like a fisher, like it's like a boat thing. Well,
I think a lot of people use them for their bikes too, but I don't actually know.
We don't know. We're not handy.
No.
We just show up. One of like the most popular questions that you get all the time, and again, I feel like I know the answer to this, and I have my own answer to this. But are you a dog or a cat person? It's hard to like. You have 4 dogs.
Yes.
So like obviously like in my head you're a dog person.
That's what everybody thinks.
But I know you like cats because they're easier. Like all your dogs are high maintenance.
I love all animals. I would seriously own one of everything if I could. The only reason why I don't is because the amount of work involved and the fact that I am constantly working. So that is impossible.
You need to like hire a zookeeper.
It's a
like,
dream.
Almost like a keeper of your animals.
I would like to have a
fun.
farm
Yeah.
and hire staff to take care of them so that I can just enjoy them.
Oh my gosh.
That's definitely the dream.
We'll be like adopting dogs. I send Vanessa all the time when I see these dogs like up for adoption. I'm like, hey, can you adopt this one?
Oh, sure. Just add to my clan.
Yeah.
I need a cow in my life.
100%.
Need a cow. That has to
You gotta
happen.
get a
at some
goat.
point.
You gotta get a goat too.
I'm not the biggest fan of goats just because they're super destructive. So I don't really care to have a goat for that reason, but I would love to have a cow. Obviously, I'd love to have more dog breeds. I really want a guardian dog at some point. I adore cats. I love cats. I've had so many cats throughout my
I
lifetime.
don't remember all your cats.
They all lived at my grandparents' house because my dad and my brother were allergic.
Yes.
So I couldn't have them at my house, but my grandparents were constantly getting me new cats all the time. Cats are a different experience. To anyone who says that cats suck and they love dogs, they've never had a real great cat. My one cat that, again, I had to rehome. I went through a separation and I was moving from the house that I lived with him in, and I was moving to my new location, and my new location was on a very, very busy street, and my cat was an escape artist. And although I knew how to prevent him from going out the door, if I ever had a guest over, this cat was so smart, he would know that this guest doesn't know how to prevent him from going outside. So he would wait at the door for the guest to open the door because the guest wouldn't be quick enough to shut it, and he'd be able to get out. So my biggest concern was that he was going to get hit by a car. This is going to sound rude, but did not have all of his brain cells, even though he was smart.
None of her animals have all of their brain cells. That's what I'm saying.
Lupa does.
She does, but she's still growing into her own, so she's still developing her brain cells.
And so does Ace. Ace is a genius.
Ace is questionable.
Ace is just old now, but he's a genius.
A wrinkly.
Leave him alone.
I tell Vanessa all the time. I remember Ace as like a little puppy, but he reminds me of like Petrie from The Land Before Time. I don't know if this is like
now he looks like Petrie.
He literally is Petrie. And I pet him, and I was like, I can't because this like skinny, bony.
Leave him alone.
Hairless.
He's sick.
He is.
You
sick.
are so mean.
I am mean.
Everybody is mean to
and
Ace.
He's also like this. Like he just like.
For those of you who are listening and not viewing, she just stuck her tongue out.
I like Ace. I do. But I think Melvin's become my favorite, but that's also probably because I watch him sometimes.
You watch him. John is starting to love Melvin too.
He's just so stupid though, and I just want to squish him.
But he has no brain cells.
He definitely has no brain cells.
That's probably why you like him so much, because his stupidity makes him cute.
Yeah.
But no, I love all animals. The only reason why I don't have a cat right now is because of where I live. Not that, like my other cat that I had to rehome, I was scared would get out and get hit by a car, and that's why I had to rehome him. But he was like a dog. We would walk him on a leash. He was a great cat. So cats can be awesome. The reason why I don't have a cat now is because how my house is set up, there isn't really a great spot to put a litter box, and having 4 dogs means that you have to constantly make sure that they're not getting into the litter box, and it's just not a good time.
Just a little much.
Yeah. So when I move to a different location and I have a different setup, I will definitely get another cat for sure. And this one will be staying with me forever. And it better learn to like my dogs, because I've had these experiences and it's very upsetting.
Okay, but you didn't answer. What do you like better, cat or dog?
That's the thing. I like them both.
Oh.
There is no one that I like better.
There you have it, folks.
People always say that, but just because I own dogs does not mean that I don't like cats.
Yeah. Cats are smart, and they're like sneaky, and they're sly.
They're funny as heck.
They are funny.
They are so funny.
Get like a good one.
I
like them too. I wish I wasn't allergic, because they are, when they're kittens, they're so cute. But one of the other popular questions that you have is, how are you so comfortable working with such large dog breeds? Because you get all up in there, and you're again like very tiny.
So the first large dog, like really large dog that I ever worked on wasn't even in the grooming salon that I worked at, because the grooming salon that I worked at, I groomed the majority of the little dogs. I gave them all haircuts. She had other girls that worked specifically on the large breeds. So I didn't really have much experience working with the large breeds other than helping those girls when they needed help here and there. So the first really big dog that I ever worked on, her name was Athena, and she was a Great Pyrenees, and she was absolutely gorgeous. But I remember when the owner brought her for the first time, I was working out of my mother's basement at that time. She was this massive hairy thing that barked at me.
What do I do?
And I do remember being scared. I do remember thinking to myself, I'm here by myself. Is this dog going to try and eat me?
Yeah.
So that was the first time where I really had the experience of working with the large dog. And I was really grateful, because this dog absolutely loved me, and she didn't love everybody. That dog taught me a lot about how to groom large double-coated dogs, because the first few times I groomed her, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't remove the undercoat properly. I used a leaf blower to blow dry her. I literally went in the backyard in the shed.
I remember you used to do that.
Yeah, I didn't have a high-velocity dryer. So I'm using the leaf blower, which was not nice on my back.
Oh my gosh.
And when the owner picked the dog up, he wasn't super satisfied with the groom, I could tell. And then the next time he called me, he said, do you think you can do a better job this time? And I thought, what does he mean by a better job? And he said, well, there was a lot of, she wasn't brushed properly. Her undercoat wasn't completely removed. So that's when I dug a little bit deeper, watched some videos, learned a little bit more, and realized, oh, there's a lot more
that goes into this.
Yeah. So I learned, this dog really taught me how to remove all of that undercoat. And after grooming her a few times, I started to do a great job, and the owner was really, really happy, fell in love with this dog. And this dog, she followed me to multiple locations. So that dog taught me a lot about body language. She taught me a lot about how to groom them. And moving forward, as I continued to work on more large breeds, I just learned to take their behavior notes and know when it is safe and when it is not. And knock on wood, my entire career, I have been pretty accurate in knowing when it's time to put the muzzle on, when it's time to stop. So do I have fear now when working on large breeds? Very, very rarely, unless an owner tells me that their dog is extremely aggressive and I'm already kind of aware that their dog is going to be aggressive. There might be a little bit of some anxiety there, but more often than not, it's about staying calm, being confident, teaching the dog that you're not a threat, and making sure you're watching behavioral cues so you know what to do to keep yourself safe. So no, I am not afraid to work with large dogs.
And it's huge too. Like, I think, again, editing your videos and just knowing you as like a groomer and whatnot, you are very good at identifying those signs.
Is that the last question?
I think that's the last question. Yeah.
All right, everyone. So that is all for today's episode. Tune in next week for our dramatic groomer stories and nightmare boss stories. This is going to be one spicy episode that you do not want to miss. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank you, Christina, for being a guest today.
No problem. I think I get to come again, right?
You'll be coming frequently.
Yes. So get ready to hear my voice.
It's nice sounding. I like the way it sounds.
I know. I think I sound okay. It's always weird hearing your voice. I think I sound good. Nice.
I'll see you all next week for another episode of Talk Your Tail Off.